Hi, in this lesson we're going to look at some good housekeeping aspects of web design. These are issues that aren't immediately going to affect your success as an affiliate, but will help you further down the line as your site grows. Websites have a habit of getting very large very fast. If you've done something wrong on 50 pages, fixing it can take up a lot of your precious time. So it's important to utilize these concepts from the get-go. When you're creating files for using on the web, there are a number of conventions you should observe. Firstly, always use lowercase. The reason for this is that file names are very often case-sensitive on the web. In other words, .jpg or JPEG in lowercase and .jpg in capitals are not actually the same file. Instead of spending hours trying to figure out why your images or files aren't displaying, it's best to just write everything in lowercase from the outset and avoid this situation altogether. Secondly, eliminate spaces between words. The first reason for this is that spaces are unsafe in web addresses. They can get lost, confused, misinterpreted, mistranslated, you name it. If you have a file or a URL with a space in it, that space will get converted to a %20 sign. The best way to write file names is with hyphens between words. This has the added benefit that search engines see words separated by hyphens as separate words, unlike words separated by underscores, which are seen as being the same word. So if you're looking for a file name convention that could help your SEO, you want hyphens all the way. When you're creating HTML pages, you can use either .html or .htm. They both do the same thing. However, py.htm and py.html are not the same file again. So it's a good idea to pick one of these and stick with it from the start. If you're using images on your website, with permission of course, make sure you save them to your computer and upload them to your own website. Don't just link to the image where it resides on someone else's site. This is called hot linking and is a bad idea for a number of reasons. Firstly, it's bad manners. You're using someone else's bandwidth to display images on your site. If their website disappears or is running slow, well, it's going to affect your site. The images simply won't appear, or it will dramatically slow down the loading of your page. You don't want to be reliant on someone else's site in this way. You'll frequently want the image to be a different size than the original, and so it's simply not a good idea to just resize the image in your web editor or by changing the height and width attributes, since these don't actually affect the size of the file. Your visitor will have to download the whole image, and if it's a very big file that you've shrunk to have small dimensions, it will become a huge waste of time and bandwidth for your poor visitors. Lastly, you're using an image that you have absolutely no control over. Many sites take offense to this behavior and may alter the image to display an advertisement for their site, display something rude, or show something equally embarrassing to register their disapproval. Funny for them, but not so good for you. The exception to this is when affiliate programs offer you snippets of code for pasting banners into your site. A lot of affiliate sites do this because it allows them to change the banners when they need to, without having to contact each affiliate to tell them that their banners are out of date. And it also allows them to track the popularity of certain banners over other ones. In this case, it's totally fine to use the image without saving it first and uploading it to your own site. When you decide what fonts you want to use for your text, have a think about whether your visitors will actually be able to see it. Your friendly handwriting type font that you use for your header will only display on a computer that actually has the same friendly handwriting type font installed on it. For everyone else, and this will be the majority of people viewing your site, what they'll see instead is the default font. This might be something like Arial or Times New Roman, something not so exciting. Here are a list of some system fonts that almost everyone has. There are other fonts that are very common that you can also try. One good thing you can do is choose a group of fonts and list them in order of preference. So if your visitor has the first font in the list installed on their computer, the browser will display that font. Otherwise, it will move on to the next font in the list until it encounters one that it actually has. For example, you could write a list in this order: Futura, Arial, Helvetica, Verdana, sans serif. In this example, Futura is reasonably common, but just in case your visitor doesn't have it, the browser's next choice is Arial, followed by Helvetica, followed by Verdana, finally, and in the worst case scenario, any old sans serif font will do. If you want something a little more special for a header, you'll typically have to turn it into an image and then insert that image into your page where the heading would be. For instance, the Filorama logo on our web pages is actually an image. When you first start creating websites, if you're anything like hundreds of other affiliates we've seen, you start out by uploading all your files into the one place. All your images, all of your HTML pages, and all of your CSS files will all end up in the same directory on your web server. And this is an example of what that might look like. This is great for one reason and one reason only. It makes referencing images and things in your HTML really easy. And when you're just starting out as an affiliate, easy is something you're usually pretty keen on. What you should really be doing, however, is keeping things nicely organized. Keep your images in an images directory, your CSS in a CSS directory, your articles in an appropriately named directory, and so on. Your web server should look more like this. Keeping things in directories serves a couple of purposes. One, it keeps things organized, and two, it makes your URLs, your web addresses, simpler. It's much easier to remember and write. For example, www.yoursite.com/blog than it is to write and remember www.yoursite.com/blogindex.html. Take a look at this bunch of files in our example pie recipe site. Okay, let's look at the one page in the root directory, the one you reach by typing www.example.com. Also in the root directory are our images and CSS folders containing our images and CSS. All the rest of our files are neatly tucked away into folders. The other beautiful thing about using folders is that you can insert your keywords into your folder names, which makes them part of your URL. Having your keywords in your URL seems to make your page appear more relevant to the search engines. For example, www.example.com/recipes/pie/best-apple-pie-recipe.html. And let's have a look at today's lesson summary. In this lesson, we took a look at some of the things you can do to keep your website functioning properly, including naming all files in lowercase without spaces, storing all images on your own server, using appropriate common fonts, and structuring files into different locations to keep things tidy. Okay, that's all we've got time for. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next time. Bye for now.